Hey guys, Trevor here, and welcome back to r/Prorevenge episode 2. In this episode, we got 3 stories for you. The first is about an office bully who gets exactly what's coming to him. The second story is about a lady who decides to hit and run and loses not only her freedom, but her children too. And in the third story, a homeowner decides to take revenge after a group of kids consistently destroy his mailbox. So find out to see what he does there. And of course, like usual, we got bonus stories at the very end of all this, so make sure you stick around to the very end and see what's in store. Alright, see you in a bit. Make fun of my friend's sexuality? Enjoy getting fired. I was working at a telephone sales place, helping customers update their telecommunication system, plans, and such. I have been working there for a couple years, and I've made friends with a coworker who just started, and was shy and rather traumatized by a bad childhood. I have permission to post this, don't worry. As it were, I had taken him under my wing and was helping him get through a lot of his little behaviors that were holding him back and training him to be a better salesperson in the process. The whole fiasco started when this other dude, Jay, found out that F was gay. He made sure to give him crap about it every day, calling him whatever slur he could think of in his tiny brain and trying to figure out the best way to see F cry, which usually happened, leaving him out of action in the bathroom for 15 minutes. And me wanting to punch Jay's lights out. F and I had tried to go to HR, but the HR rep was in with Jay and would never file any complaints to management. No matter how many times we or our manager tried to bring it up, Jay was family to one of the shareholders and was essentially untouchable. One day, Jay was talking to one of his coworker friends about sex, and a customer on my end heard the conversation in part and declined to stick with me for the sale, which lost me about $200 in commission. I was furious and told him in no uncertain terms to quit his bullcrap. He responded to my remark in a snide manner and got even louder and more obnoxious. This started a plan forming in my mind. The moment lunch came around, I all but yanked F out of his seat and took him to the local cafe to tell him what happened. There, we formed a plan. Every time Jay would talk about sex or any non-office friendly topic, F or I would politely tell him to stop, which would make him louder and more obnoxious. It didn't take long before even management would tell him to shut up, which he generally did if told by a higher up. He's nothing if not a coward in the face of authority figures. This continued for about a week, until it happened. An announcement came over the intercom, asking all sales reps to please end their calls as soon as possible, and turn off incoming calls for the next 30 minutes. Everyone knew this was serious. Something was going down. Once every rep was off call, the CEO of the company barrels into the room, purple in the face. This is normally the guy who's always cheerful and willing to help. This was the dude who gave a man 2 weeks off to be with his sick wife and child, just because the guy asked. But the CEO was a picture of vengeance today. CEO screaming, "Who the hell is Jay and where is he?" Jay is trying very hard to disappear under his desk. Management, "Over there, sir. That seat." "Come with me, Jay. This room," points to the meeting room. They go to the meeting room, keeping in mind that the walls are paper thin, you can hear everything. "We just got a call from the ombudsman that you were heard talking about anal sex while a customer was on the phone." Jay, "Sir, I didn't do anything like that." CEO, "Don't you dare lie to me. I listened to the call and you were clearly talking about crap like that. What the hell do you have to say for yourself?" Jay, silence. CEO, "Well, I came here to see if I could possibly give you a second chance, but you lied to me and declined to accept your own failure. Get your crap and get out. I'll have someone call over your severance." The CEO walked out, gives everyone in the team a 15-minute break on his time, and goes back to his office. He's really a great dude. Jay slinks out about 5 minutes later, quickly packs his stuff and leaves. As it turns out, he was not the only one to be fired that day. Apparently, the system records everything into the mic, not just when calls are happening. 3 other people are fired the next day. In the year or so after I worked there, F and I rose to the top salespeople on the team. We enjoyed the rest of the time, until the team was dissolved in a cutting cost measure, and we got laid off in a very generous severance package. I still catch up with F from time to time, and he is well out of the closet and very proud now. I've never seen Jay again. I think he moved to a different state. I love how this guy they got him back in the end by goading him on doing it himself. They didn't have to really do anything. They did probably exactly what they would have been told in that situation, which is calmly say, please stop. And that's what got him in the end. So great job on these two guys. Also, in the edits, I don't read the edits, but in the edits down below, it does say that Jay ends up working a minimum wage job at a grocery store. So even better end of the story. Hippity hoppity, you damaged my property. Bippity boppity, I'm calling the coppity. Bippity boppity boo, they're taking your kids too. This happened shortly after college. My mom is a retired disabled woman who now owns her own house on a quiet residential cul-de-sac. She lived there longer than anyone else. Her neighborhood has designated parking spaces at the end of the cul-de-sac, all with the addresses on each house painted in the parking space. My mom doesn't get out much, so I use her designated parking space. At the time, we lived in the same city, and I visited her weekly to bring her groceries, fix broken things, cook for her, etc. My mom parked her car in the backyard of the house since she went out so little. My mom kept busy by gardening or baking/buying cookies for the children on the street. Mom's neighbor, Ivory, never parked well. Whenever I stopped by, her car was always parked so close to my car that I had to park on the curb. I wouldn't have cared about Ivory's piss-poor parking but for two things. One, she had 4 or 5 kids and had parties every weekend, leaving trash in my mom's yard. And 2, I loved my car. It was a 2016 metallic ice blue Dodge Challenger Hellcat. That was the first car I had ever purchased brand new. I washed that car once a week, detailed the interior, and had rules against eating, drinking, or even leaving trash in my car. It was my pride and joy. Mom had called the police throughout Ivory's residence because of the parties. Ivory's guests would fill up the cul-de-sac with their cars, obstructing traffic, and getting into drunk fights after midnight. I often found empty beer bottles, empty condom wrappers, cigarette butts, and empty Kraken baggies on the fence between properties, mostly on Ivory's side of the fence. This is all important information. One Saturday, while having dinner at my mom's house, I heard a loud crash and my car alarm went off. I ran outside to see Ivory's older model Honda Accord back out of her parking space and speed down the street. Ivory's Accord had a dent from the front bumper to the door and a headlight had popped out. I approached my Challenger with trepidation and screamed in anguish at what I saw. My car, my beautiful 3-week-old car with less than 500 miles on it, had a dent stretching from the passenger door to the front bumper, and the right wheel was tilted at a 30-degree angle. I was livid and in anguish as I called the police, filed an online claim with my insurance, and arranged for a tow truck to take my damaged car to the dealership. The estimated cost of repairs came out to $3,400 USD. Total cost of repairs was eventually $6,500. I had low insurance deductible, $100, but my car was parked, and Ivory owed for the damages. For 2 weeks, I knocked on Ivory's door and waited for her to come home. She stopped driving the damaged Accord and either rented or borrowed a Ford Fusion. When she was home, she didn't answer the door. When she wasn't, she stayed away until my rental car, a Dodge Charger, left my mom's parking space. I left a note on Ivory's door for her to call me, but only received harassing calls from restricted phone numbers or people blaring air horns in my ear when I answered. The Revenge. About 2 weeks after the incident, Ivory's children came to Mom's house for some cookies. I noticed 2 of them had bruises around their eyes. If Ivory hadn't hit my car, I still would have done what I did, but maybe not as underhandedly. I had Mom take pictures with and of the children, but waited until the next party to strike. Ivory had a party that night, or the night after. Mom called me to let me know, and I installed an app on my phone that gave me a fake phone number. I called 911 and reported the party. There's a loud party at redacted address, and I'm worried because the children are around all these drunk adults. Please, hurry. Mom called to let me know the police have arrived. I drove to her house, stopping by the grocery store first, so that would appear to be the reason, and saw Ivory and her boyfriend, Bane, already sitting in the back of squad cars. From the news broadcast that night, I found out that Bane had warrants for his arrest. Initially, the charges were disorderly conduct and disturbing the peace. However, Mom turned over the photos of the children, anonymously mailing them through the post address with Ivory's address and name as the return address. Less than a week later, Ivory and Bane were charged with child abuse charges. I think Bane was charged with more severe charges as well for abusing Ivory's daughter. Either way, the children ended up in foster care, and Ivory and Bane ended up in prison. TLDR, my car was hit by a fouled witch. Being a pro, I played a snitch. Her children had bruises, and she had no excuses. My plan went well, no hitch. You know, it's possible that you would have never realized how much of a horrible human being she was if she didn't hit your car and run off in the first place. So when you think about it, her having hit your car and sped away kind of gave you the foresight of her character to know that when you saw a black eye on a kid, it was because of her. So in a way, your car getting hit actually saved these children. So I guess it was an okay thing. A story from my late grandfather. This is a story told to me back in 2012 by my granddad. A story of when he was living in California in the 70s. The neighborhood where my grandpa lived wasn't the best part of town, and there was a gang of hooligans that had always gotten together recently. One night, these rapscallions decided it would be a good idea to go out and play some mailbox baseball, smashing all the boxes in the cul-de-sac. When my grandpa went to check in the mail, he had found the sad remnants of the mailbox. He was furious, but he did the rational thing and simply replaced it. Weeks later, and those delinquents were at it again, demolishing everyone's pristine new mailboxes. Upon discovery of this, my grandfather was livid. He set out to stop these ruffians repeating their ill deeds. He gathered materials, taking inspiration from Wile E. Coyote, and constructed a trap for these ne'er-do-wells. He filled the mailbox with concrete, using a piece of 2x4 to leave the slot for the letters to be placed. Once cured, he set his trap and waited. A month passed, and these punks were having their fun once more. My grandfather, hearing the smash of a neighbor's box, went to the window. Smash, 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 crack. The goon with the bat screamed. The bat split into twine, and his wrist was shattered. They peeled out, speeding in the general direction of the hospital. The mailbox was knocked off its post, but otherwise undamaged. He went out, set the box back up on the post, and went to bed. Oddly enough, the mailboxes were left alone after that. Who would have guessed? I really wish all the stories were written this way. Forget asshole or jerk. I want more hooligans, rapscallions, and delinquents. That was a lot of fun to read. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed r/Prorevenge. Now let's get straight into the bonus, and for today, we're going to be reading r/That Happened. Let's get into it. This morning at McDonald's, I was getting my coffee. I overheard a white man say, "I can't wait until February is over." I said to him, "Why?" "Because it's Black History Month. You effing racist cracker." Every black person in the place gave me a standing ovation. Amazing. One black man even gave me permission to say the N-word. I'd never been so honored. I just got a call from Shakeen to congratulate me. I'm so humbled. And all the beautiful girls gave me their phone numbers. Oh, and don't forget, Bill Gates was there, and he gave me his free Lamborghini. Some guy actually started jerking off in class. He was caught and suspended, obviously. We used to jerk off in physics class as a group. The class was constructed in a stair-like manner, and the desk had wooden panel underneath so you couldn't see under. 5 of us were sitting at the last row, and one guy sometimes downloaded a porn video on his phone and would bring it to class. He would put the phone in between the 3 of us, and we would all jerk off to that tiny screen. The other 2 guys, who couldn't see sometimes, started jerking off too, just to be cool like us. The teacher was old and had bad eyesight, so he had no idea what was going on. The only problem is that I don't know much about physics now. Yep, those were the good old days. See, what you gotta think about is, were those 2 guys jerking off to be cool like you guys, or were they jerking off at the sight of you guys jerking off? Now you gotta think about that. Today during class, this guy was getting all the questions right. So this girl goes, "Wow, he's such an effing nerd." Teacher, "Wow, cut it out. He could be your boss one day." Nerd, "Highly unlikely. I don't plan on being a pimp." Everyone was like, "Damn, lol." No comment needed here. I'm just gonna let that roast marinate. Alright guys, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.